things are reduced to the barest minimum.
All right. From security now, let's talk about the economy. The recent Fitch rating upgrading Nigeria to B from B-, an endorsement of President Bola Tinubu's policy reforms, But for the generality of Nigerians, what does this mean? Because it appears as if it's only the presidency that is excited about these. Nigerians are yet to understand how will this translate to meaningful economic growth and empowerment for them.
If you read the Fitch report, because a lot of things there's one common practice that we have as Nigerians. We just read headlines and then we postulate on the headlines. I read the Fitch reports. You understand, Fitch are the #1 ratings agency in the world, followed by Standard & Poor's, followed by KPMG. Now, if you read the Fitch report, they talk about a number of things. One of the things that they talk about foreign inflow into Nigeria. Foreign inflow into Nigeria right now has increased by a factor of 5-fold. So there's more foreign direct investment coming into Nigeria. The inflation has reduced from 34.84% to about 24% in the month of February. They also talked about reforms of the administration. They talk about the removal of subsidy. They talk about the flotation of the naira. These things are spurring in more local production. That's why we are seeing that Nigeria is now exporting more. So for the first time listen to this, in 50 years, we've had record-breaking trade surpluses whereby we are importing less than we are exporting. So we are exporting more goods to other countries than we are importing. And this is very good because it's making sure that our naira is flowing within Nigeria and then foreign currency is actually flowing in Nigeria. Nigeria is moving towards food security. That's what was also included in the Fitch ratings. So the last time Fitch adjusted their ratings for Nigeria was on Friday, November 11, and they downgraded Nigeria. Now they've upgraded Nigeria. So there is progress. The reforms of the Tinubu administration are actually working. And I think it was Peter Obi who was saying that, no, our economy had collapsed. I'm going to ask Nigerians, between Peter Obi and Fitch ratings, who are you going to believe? Peter Obi did not give any empirical data. What he said is that people who used to feed are now begging. That's emotion. That's populism. That is not data. If you look at the data in Nigeria right now, you're seeing that Nigerians, the purchasing power has increased. And how do we know that? The minimum wage used to be about 30,000 naira. The minimum wage has been increased. It's now more than double. States are now receiving sometimes triple what they used to get from the federal allocation. I'm going to mention a state like Anambra State, where Peter Obi is from. Anambra State is almost receiving triple what they used to receive from the federal allocation. If you look at a state like Lagos State, for instance, now you've seen that local government autonomy is now working in Lagos State. I was talking about it on Twitter. It went viral, and the local government chairman actually came and thanked me. A local government in Lagos is actually building a 300-unit housing estate. Yeah. They built 12 schools. They built a big office complex. That's because local government autonomy is now making sure that allocation is going down to the local government. So we are seeing that the reforms in Nigeria are working.
All right, then. Some people say they agree with you that indeed these reforms are working, but in the face of global challenges, especially the recent trade tariffs imposed by the U.S. President Donald Trump, people are watching to see how this administration will reinvent itself, build resilience of the economy to be able to withstand these trade or tariff shockwaves from the United States, because there are concerns that even the target set in the 2025 budget might not be met. And some people are even saying that the recent Fitch ratings might just be short-lived.
Well, that doesn't make sense, because if you look at what happened, immediately President Trump announced a cooling of the tariffs for 90 days. What happened? The price of oil went up. But you got to understand that oil is just 15% of our GDP. So Nigeria is a very unique country in the fact that because of reforms, not just by this administration, beginning from the Babangida administration, about 85% of our GDP is in the hands of the private sector. And when you're looking at that, now, if you look at what's happening in a state like Lagos, before the Bola Tinubu administration came in, Lagos had an economy of $100 billion GDP. Right now, Lagos has an economy of $259 billion GDP. So that means that in this period of about 2 years of the Bola Tinubu reform, the GDP of Lagos has expanded by almost 3%, almost 300%. If you look at someone like Aliko Dangote, when Bola Tinubu became president on May 29, 2023, his net worth was about $14 billion. That's an approximate. Right now, his net worth is almost double that because the reforms are working. Because what you have to understand there is this, is that if you have captains of industry, the organized private sector, these are the people that actually employ more people than the federal and the state government. So when these people are actually improving, it means that the economy is improving. They're going to be employing more people. They're going to be paying people better wages. I'll give another example. Peter Obi, who was talking about, the economy has collapsed. He has interest in the bank. Now, because of my relationship with some people in that bank, I'm not going to mention the name of that bank, but that bank has seen their profit before tax increase by about 300%. So even because of Bola Tinubu's reforms, more money is going into Peter Obi's pockets. So we need to look at data. We can't look at emotions. Anybody can just wake up and say, I'm suffering. No. We're not good. Those are emotions. We can only work with data. And the reason why it's important for these governments to rebut some of these things that people like Peter Obi are saying is because if you don't rebut fallacies today, tomorrow they become facts.
All right, then. I know you've also been watching and seeing the intense effort by people in the opposition to coalesce with the singular purpose of unseating President Bola Tinubu in 2027. We have seen the visits